Sleep used to be my escape. After 12-hour shifts at the hospital, I would collapse into bed, exhausted beyond thought. The nights were quiet in our small apartment, too quiet, some would say. No traffic noise, no neighbors, just the faint ticking of the wall clock and the hum of electricity inside the walls. That was before I noticed it. The first night I thought it was a trick of fatigue. I woke around 3:17 a.m. The time burned into my memory like a scar. My eyes opened without reason, my heart already racing as if my body knew something my mind hadn't yet understood. There was a shape at the foot of my bed, not solid, not fully formed, just darker than the darkness around it. A human outline, tall and still, standing where my dresser should have been. I couldn't move. Sleep paralysis, I told myself. I'd read about it. The brain wakes before the body. Hallucinations, shadows, fear. The shape didn't move. It didn't breathe. It just stood there, watching. I squeezed my eyes shut and counted my breaths. 1, 2, 3. When I opened them again, the shape was gone. The next morning, I laughed it off. I told myself stress does strange things. But that night, when I went to bed, I left the lamp on. It didn't matter. At 3:17 a.m., I woke again. This time, the shadow was closer. It stood beside the bed now, its head tilted slightly, as if studying me. The darkness around it seemed thicker, heavier, like smoke trapped in human form. I tried to scream. Nothing came out. Its arm, if you could call it, that slowly lifted. The shape had no fingers, no face, no features. Yet I knew with horrifying certainty that it was smiling. A whisper filled the room. Not in my ears, in my head. You're finally looking at me. When I woke the next morning, my sheets were soaked with sweat. There were bruises on my wrist long, dark marks shaped like fingers. I lived alone, or at least I thought I did. I stopped sleeping. Coffee, energy drinks, cold showers, nothing mattered. The moment I drifted off, it returned, always at 3:17, always closer. By the fourth night, it was sitting on my chest. I could feel the weight pressing the air from my lungs. Its face hovered inches above mine, though I couldn't see eyes or a mouth. The darkness itself seemed to pulse, like it was alive. I've been here since the first night you slept alone, it whispered. Memories, surface memories I had buried. The old house I grew up in. The bedroom where I used to wake screaming as a child. The nights my parents said I had imaginary friends. The corner of the room I refused to face. I remembered now. The shadow had always been there. I just stopped seeing it. Desperate, I went back to my childhood home. It was abandoned now, rotting and silent. Dust coated everything. But the air inside felt familiar, wrong in a way my body recognized instantly. In my old bedroom, I found scratches on the wall near the bed, tall marks. At adult height, that night I didn't sleep. I didn't have to. At 3:17 a.m., the room darkened on its own. The shadow emerged from the corner, peeling itself off the wall like wet ink. "You were never supposed to forget me," it said. "You were supposed to grow up with me." I backed away, heart pounding. "What are you?" The shadow leaned closer, and for the first time, a face formed vague, shifting, unfinished. "I'm the part of you that never sleeps." The realization hit me like ice water. It wasn't haunting me, it was attached to me. A parasite of fear, feeding on my exhaustion, my loneliness, my silence. It grew stronger every night I slept alone, every time I turned off the light, every time I pretended I wasn't afraid. I understood then why it watched, why it waited. It needed me unconscious. I don't sleep anymore. I sit awake every night, lights blazing, eyes burning, fighting the pull of rest. Because when my eyelids grow heavy, I feel it stir inside me, watching, waiting, and sometimes, when I catch my reflection in the darkened window, I swear the shadow behind me blinks, even when I don't. I lasted 11 days without sleep. By the 12th, the world began to break. The lights in my apartment flickered, even when the power was steady. Shadows lagged behind their owners, moving a fraction of a second too late. Faces on screens looked wrong as if their eyes were staring past me, through me. The shadow was no longer waiting for night. I felt it when I blinked. A pressure behind my eyes, a presence stretching, waking, impatient. "You're starving me," it whispered while I stood in the kitchen at noon. "You can't stay awake forever." I started recording myself, not for proof, for warnings. Every night at 3:17 a.m., I set up my phone and pressed record. I sat under harsh white lights, forcing my eyes open, my hands shaking. The clock always reached 3:16, 3:17, and the video glitched every single time. When I reviewed the footage, there were missing minutes, black gaps where sound and image collapsed into static, and in those gaps there was always movement. A shape leaning toward the camera, smiling. On the 12th night, I finally broke. My body shut down while my mind screamed. I don't remember lying down. I don't remember closing my eyes. But I woke up on the floor. The lights were off. The clock read 3:17 a.m. The shadow stood over me, no longer separate. It was wearing my face. Its mouth moved when it spoke, but the voice came from inside my skull. "I told you," it said gently. "I don't need you asleep anymore." I tried to crawl away, but my arms wouldn't respond. I could feel myself slipping, falling inward, like sinking into deep water. The shadow reached down and placed a hand on my chest. This time, I felt my own fingers. "You were never meant to survive without me," it whispered. "I was born the night you learned fear. I grew every time you closed your eyes. Memories flooded back every nightmare, every panic attack, every night I woke convinced something was watching me. It wasn't watching, it was learning." The shadow leaned closer, its face flickering between mine and something older, emptier. Now, it said, I get to stay awake. I woke up in my bed at dawn. Sunlight poured through the window. Birds chirped. My phone lay beside me. Recording stopped. I felt rested, calm to calm. When I stood and walked to the mirror, my reflection smiled before I did. That night, I slept peacefully for the first time in weeks. No shadow, no fear. But somewhere deep inside, something watched through my eyes. And they found the recordings on my phone a week later. Hours of footage. Me sitting under bright lights, eyes forced open, whispering to myself. But in the final video timestamped 3:17 a.m., the camera focuses on the bedroom corner. I am not in the frame. The shadow is it steps forward, slow and deliberate, and looks directly into the lens. Its shape is clearer now, taller, straighter, almost human. It smiles, then it speaks. If you're watching this, it means I won. The screen goes black. Police reports say I died in my sleep. No signs of struggle. No cause they could explain. Peaceful, they called it. But that's not what happened. I didn't die. I went quiet. Every night now, someone else wakes at 3:17 a.m. Every night, someone feels the weight on their chest. Every night, a shadow stands just a little closer than before, because it doesn't need me anymore. It learned how to move on. So if you're listening to this story in bed, if your room feels wrong, if your eyes are getting heavy, don't close them. It's already awake, and it's watching you sleep.